I signed up for Nairobi.
Oh, nice.
Right. And because I was like, I want to go to Africa. I've been to Africa as a kid, but I wanted to go as a runner. And I had convinced the organizers of this race and the Australian committee on this. I said, hey, if I'm really going to do due diligence to running well at this race, I can't just fly into Nairobi for a day from Australia, right? Because the thought was, oh, we fly you in on Friday, you run on Sunday, and you fly back on Monday. There's no way you're going to get over jet lag from Australia to Nairobi. It's a huge distance. So I said, look, can I go to Kenya for a month, train at altitude, and really like deliver a win, right? Like really do due diligence to this. And they let me do it. And it was awesome because this was a time where E10 was just kind of like a new frontier for Western distance runners. The Kenyans, it had always been their mecca.
What is E10? You gotta explain that to me.
E10 is a village in Kenya, high in the highlands outside of Nairobi. So farm country. So the Kalenjin people are the runners of Kenya. This is the tribe that Paul Turgat is from, and they have all the names of Lagat and Kip in their names. So Kiptum, Kiplagat, Kiptanui, all of these names that you hear come from the Kalenjin tribes. These are Kalenjin names. And they all live in E10. So you have this saturation of runners. You have this brain trust of all of these runners living up there. And I had the opportunity to go there at a time where, this was not known to a lot of Western runners. And the greatest insight was given to me by a guy, I don't really remember his name, but it had Kip in it. And we're looking over the Rift Valley, with the cradle of civilization, right? Where life walked out of the Rift Valley, the first humans. And he says, Brian, in Kenya, there is no such thing as a fun run. We do not run for fun. There is road race. If you cannot break 28 minutes for 10K, you need to rethink your life.
Oh my gosh.
And just that struck the idea of sacrifice and the idea of putting everything on the line and just really hit home to me, and has always been kind of just a North Star to me in terms of thinking about running, so much that, I've taken other runners with me to Africa to not do a month-long training camp, but just go for 10 days so you can understand that insight and see these runners in action and what they go through and what that mentality is. And it helped me to contextualize the race that I ran, Nairobi Marathon. So it's not a fast race at all because it's at altitude and it's on cobblestones, and there's a wheelchair component to it, wheelchair athletes are flying down hills. And I'm not these aren't the new types of wheelchairs with the 3 wheels. These are the ones with 2 wheels that you'd find in a hospital. And they're flying down hills, flying out of their wheelchairs into the street, people picking them back up, getting back on the wheelchair and go. Like, this is just mania. Suffice it to say, not the fastest race, but I start to come home strong at the end. And I'm running through and I'm running to the finish, and I start passing several Kenyan runners. And there's lots of people on the street cheering, but no applause as I start to come through. And I'm like, and I think if I had flown in for just a day, I would have been like, what the hell? Why is nobody cheering? But I understood why, right? Because me passing Kenyan runners that have given their lives to be at this race, I saw that as something very coveted and something that was, truly honorable. And I didn't take offense to that. And I understood why. And I've taken that mentality with me into my running life, into my family life, into just my coaching life. Just getting, I think that's the most important thing. There's a mindset piece. There's a mindset piece to this. Performance is a metric, but it's also a mindset.
Yeah. Oh, I think marathons are such a good metaphor for life. Like, the first 20 miles of a marathon are manageable usually, but it's those last 6 where you can have the best training, the best nutrition, the best everything, best weather. But if you're not mentally strong, those last 6 miles, the last 10K, it's like nothing else matters after that.
Yeah, you know this. I mean, you've started to foray even into the 100 ultra races, right?
I think marathons are harder than ultras.
Right? But it's about endurance, right?
Right.
It's endurance of the body, it's endurance of the mind. And so, it's great to be affiliated with companies. I've been lucky to be affiliated with companies like Nike and Maurten, where I get to be what I do, right? And I think that that's also key to being happy, is be what you are. Do what you are.
Yeah, remember, I've heard you say that before. I think it was on the call we had a couple weeks ago. You said you really, when it came to like choosing your career path and figuring out what you want to do for work, you're like, I want my career to align with who I am as a person, not the other way around, which I feel like that's how most people kind of approach it, is the opposite of what you do. It's where people, they make their career their personality. It's like they, based on what their parents tell them or their friends or just wherever life takes them, they go and be a lawyer, and then being a lawyer is that's their whole personality. Whereas if you figure out who you are as a person, and then you let your career align with that, that's such a more pure way of going about it, I feel like.
Well, it's not work at that point.
Right, exactly.
So.